Hi, my name is Laura. I'm a psychic medium and an Usui Reiki master here on YouTube. You can follow me on my TikTok and on any other content. I'm sitting at a very weird angle here, but I don't have like a lot of space in between moving to work with, so I'm just gonna do it this way. But anyway, today I'm channeling one of my favorite characters growing up that I watched, Meshach Taylor. And I don't think anybody's channeled this guy, actually, but I've been drawn to channel him. I'm obviously not African, so I hope that I'm not bastardizing his name. So if I'm saying it wrong, I really do apologize. So Meshach is mostly known for the show Designing Women from 1986 to 1993. Honestly, I don't think I've seen a full episode. I don't think growing up I've seen any of the episodes, actually. I might have skipped through the channels and vaguely seen it, but I don't think I saw the show growing up. I actually know him from the first and second movie, The Mannequin, which the first one had Kim Cattrall, right? Not Kim Cattrall. Was it Kim Cattrall? I'll have to relook that up. But it had Matthew McCarthy, you know, from the 1980s Brat Pack. Weekend at Bernie's and all that jazz. I love him. Pretty in Pink, one of my favorite movies. Oh, Estelle Getty, who played, you know, the mom on The Golden Girls. James Spader, love James Spader. I was born in 1987. I'm a huge fan of the 80s Brat Pack. Such good nostalgia to this day. But that being said, even though pretty much everybody says the first Mannequin's their favorite, my favorite was the second and still is to this day. And Meshach played the eccentric, gay, and chipper window dresser with the really cool glasses, and he was like, Hollywood! I loved how over the top he was. I feel kind of silly because I never realized that that was him. I was always drawn to his energy as a child, and so I guess it makes sense I was drawn to channel him. Anyway, I was originally going to channel Prince, but everybody, I just saw an orb go across the screen. Everybody wanted me to channel Prince, and I was going to, but I didn't feel super drawn to channel him. And just like with mediums, and we have to have boundaries with spirit. Spirit can have boundaries with us. Prince rolls his eyes and he's really tired of being channeled, so I thought I'd give him a break. And Meshach, actually, I felt like he was pretty open book with me, so yeah, I'll get into why I channeled him. So fast forward into March of this year, I was scrolling on the app Pluto TV, and I thought, I haven't seen celebrity ghost stories in a while, so I love that show. It's one of my favorite shows, Celebrity Ghost Stories. And so I typed that in the search bar, and Meshach came up. And I thought, wait a second, isn't that the guy that played Hollywood in the Mannequin movies? So I googled casted Mannequin, and it was him. And I'm not just saying this, but his stories in Celebrity Ghost Stories was one of my favorites. It sent chills down my spine, and it had everything I love. New Orleans, ghost stories, voodoo. And he had a lady take care of him when he was 6 years old by the name of Margie, because Margie was, like, I think his nanny. I don't know the proper name that they called her. But I felt drawn to channel her as well. And I'd like to point out, spirit, the reason I'm comfortable channeling people who've passed is because they give consent. They won't come to you if they don't want to be channeled, like Prince. He didn't want to be channeled, so I respected that boundary. Whereas if somebody's living still in their celebrity, I personally don't feel comfortable channeling them out loud. Oh, my nose. Because that's my spirit guides again. Because I feel like it's not my place to do that. So I just don't. Anyway, so Margie was Creole and a practitioner of voodoo. I was immediately intrigued. He lived by the levee. His father was a professor, or was he the dean? Something like that, at Dillard University in New Orleans. And so they lived off campus by the levee. And before we begin, I just want to say that voodoo is a closed practice. There's some things, the odd thing that's open, but not much. And so for the most part, it is a closed practice. And so I want to clarify that I respect that. And I am of Irish and pagan ancestry. And so technically, originally, it started as a closed practice, and it still should be, but everybody's dabbling in it, and it's okay. And I just want to point out that there is a hypocrisy and a double standard with what's a closed practice and what isn't, that you can do whatever you want with white practitioners and their crafts and their passed down generational crafts. But if I were to light sage when I'm not Native American without consent, or I were to dabble in voodoo, everybody would be pissed with me. So I just want to reiterate how I don't think that's fair. And if we're really going to get into it, we've all had past, present, and future lives that we live simultaneously, where we have been voodoo practitioners, Native American, Celtic, pagan, druid, this, that, the other, right? So technically, a sharing of culture, I think, is important, as long as it's done with respect. So no, I don't dabble in voodoo without consent of an actual voodoo practitioner, but I am tired of how divisive things are. And Margie, moving in this video, you'll find out that she was open with me about her practices, and she wouldn't have been doing that had she thought I would just bastardize voodoo. So I just want to clarify that I do respect closed practices, but I also notice in the spiritual community a lot of hypocrisy. So I'm gonna say a few things that I got. Something about Fort Mills. I had to look it up, and it's apparently a town in South Carolina. I don't know if he traveled there or anything about that, really. I do know, I think he traveled a little bit as a kid, but because of his parents' career, especially his father's career, but I don't know anything else about that. He was born April 11th, 1947, and he was an Aries sun. He died June 28th, 2014. I didn't know when he passed. I had no idea he passed, but when I channeled him, I was like, he doesn't feel like he's living. So I Googled it, and yeah, I was bummed to find out he passed away. I finally decided to do a channeling video on him when I was on my Instagram, and Chris Crocker, you know, the leave Brittany alone guy, now named Kara Cunningham, made a video talking about growing up in the South. And he's like, different kinds of Southern. And he mentioned designing women and how she's not that type of Southern. And so after seeing celebrity ghost stories and then seeing her mention Meshach, I thought, okay, I will channel Meshach. Meshach kept saying Esme, and I Googled that, and apparently Esme is the name of one of his daughters. He had 4 children. I don't remember if Esme was his oldest that he had with his first wife. I'll get back to you on that one. He said, don't scrape. Quit scraping. So he hated the sound of scraping of plates, dinner plates. I looked up his mom, and I saw on one of the websites that his mom's still mentioned as alive. And I thought, I'm going to have to do more research on this because she's dead. She's not alive. She lived past him. She was in her hundreds, I think, when he passed. But I just heard black don't crack. That's funny. It's true. It's very true. They age very well, I will say. And then Meshach said, no, my mom lived a long life. Her side of the family, they lived in their hundreds, usually 80s to 100s, 90s to 100s. But she died recently. So I looked up, and she died August 1st, 2022, so pretty recently, at the age of 108. Margie made home-cooked meals. Something about Margie and weasels. She's showing me green leaves that looked a bit like bay leaves, but they're not bay leaves. And she's cutting some of them that grew outside right off the porch, going up the red painted steps to the front of the house. And then she said Orlander or Orleander, posies. You know, like that song, hush up, we all fall down. It's a pocket full of posies. I don't know if it's related to that or if it's related to something else. So I googled Orleander and I got Nerilium Orleander. I don't know if I'm messing up the word of that. It's commonly known as rosebay. It's poisonous to dogs, humans, horses, and cats. It can cause heart palpitations and in larger quantities, heart attack. Poison from this plant, though, isn't very common, so it's not usually seen as like a super dangerous plant because most people don't use it for spells or go and eat. Well, some people use it for spells, but they don't ingest it. So I don't know if she messed with that plant to do her magic, but I'm kind of getting that idea that it could have been done for protection purposes. And no, I'm not saying she poisoned people or animals. That's not what I'm saying at all. I just want to clarify that. A posy also is referred to a bunch of different flowers, sometimes called a posy. I don't know why. It can be made from a single type of flower, like a rose or peonies, or a bunch of different flowers. I heard the name John, and then I heard neroli oil, capsaicin, habanero, olive oil, by the sea, and goat milk. That's what Margie's telling me. I don't know what any of that means. But I did keep hearing Forrest Whitaker over and over again. Forrest Whitaker. From Meshach. It's just like, Forrest Whitaker. I briefly searched if they were friends or if they worked together, and I didn't find anything on that. And then I heard he's a captain. Something about a captain in the sea. I don't know if he got his captain's license, but I know he played a captain, apparently, and a few of his adult roles, or that doesn't sound right, and a few of his movie roles. I'm not like a huge Forrest Whitaker fan, so I don't think I've seen those movies, but like something could come out about Forrest Whitaker later on, and maybe that's why I'm getting that information. That's happened many times before with other celebrities, other people, some kind of prediction. I feel like, I don't think he was religious, but I'm getting something about like spirituality and stuff like that. And I don't know if he played the trombone, but I am getting like some kind of instrument, like a trombone, a saxophone, something like that. But he shows me playing like a trombone, or one of those types of instruments. But I looked up, I couldn't find anything on that. Something about tiramisu, which is an Italian dessert. He said he's traveled north, which is vague. I don't know where north he's talking about. He gives a nod of approval to the show It's a Different World and for the cast. He thinks it was like a really record-breaking, successful show for a predominantly black cast. I'm seeing the 10 of Swords, and he said somebody stabbed me in the back and betrayed me and broke my heart. And he said it was a male specifically. And this male was like a brother to him, like a really close male friend. But it's not his brother. That's what I'm getting. He said it happened during the last 3 to 6 years before his death. He also told me that before his diagnosis, he was having heart palpitations that he was trying to get checked out. Never found the root cause of what caused it, but it kind of went away on its own. He also said he had other weird, like, body aches and chills and things that had nothing to do with his diagnosis, but it was happening before his diagnosis. I keep hearing darling. What was it? I keep hearing, darling, you look wonderful tonight, by Eric Clapton. He said his favorite color is lime green. Said he was happy and chipper and he was a geek. He showed me toy trains, putting toy trains together, building toy models. He was laughing about stand-up ashtrays, you know, like from the 1950s, 60s, 70s, specifically the 70s time zone he's showing me. A time frame, that era, like with the, you know, the ashtrays that would just, they'd have like a long thing attached to them, like a rod thing, and they stood up so you could smoke standing up, or if you're sitting down, the ashtray's like a standalone on its own. And he said there was one at the corner of every room, and he walked in like haze and haze upon haze of blue smoke, blue cigarette smoke at these parties. And he was laughing because, I don't know why he was laughing, but he was laughing because I guess he found it comical. He wasn't a smoker. Not to my knowledge anyway. I'm not getting that he was. He wasn't showing me that. I know, of course, like I said before, that he died at the age of 67 of colorectal cancer. But for whatever reason, he keeps talking about the heart palpitations. He keeps talking about the heart area. He keeps talking about heartbreak and betrayal and sadness. He had a lot of sadness that he carried with him. That he felt the need, especially near the end of his life, to let go of things and not hold on to resentment, because there were resentments that he carried with people. I am getting people in his family as well. But he did say, my children mean the world to me, my children and my grandchildren, and of course his wife. He said he misses the women in his life. He said his first marriage, it was a painful divorce. And his energy, by the way, is still very quiet. But so is Margie's. So in his first marriage, where he had the daughter, I don't remember if it's Esme or not, he said that the marriage wasn't working and they kind of fell out of love. And it was more on his end than on her end. And there is a slight regret there. Not that he regrets marrying his second wife, but there's a slight regret that, like, I could have done more. Could have done more, could have shown more love, could have put more effort in. But, I mean, we didn't see eye to eye. We tried to make it work and it didn't work. I'm not getting, like, cheating and infidelity and this, that, the other. He was somebody who genuinely loved and respected the women in his life, and he had a healthy relationship with women growing up. He said, I will continue to be a good man, to be a kind man, to help my children, to be the voice of reason, to guide them. They know I'm there. I love my wife, my children, and my grandchildren very much. Something about Margie liked okra. Margie talked about daffodils and neroli oil. I keep hearing throughout the whole reading, in fact, neroli oil. So I looked it up, and neroli oil is used in voodoo spell work. It can be used in attracting love and passion, can also be used to strengthen relationships or draw a lover closer. It's used to ease anxiety and emotional turmoil. It's used in healing rituals or to protect individuals from negative energies or harmful influences. The sweet floral scent is believed to help clear negative energy and purify spaces. An essential part of voodoo rituals meant to cleanse and protect individuals and environments. Neroli may also be used to enhance intuition and connection with the spiritual realm. It could be added to anointing oils used by practitioners during divination or mediumship practices. And I also got that she told me this specifically as a message, but I thought I'd share that part. And I don't know if she liked poetry or whatever, but she speaks very poetically. She said, like the sun or the ocean, that's where you'll find me. Daffodils can be used for personal growth, as well as spiritual and emotional healing. Just like the bright yellow, it resonates with the solar plexus chakra, or if you're really pretentious, chakra. He talks about continued education and the importance of reading a lot. He liked to read a lot. He wants people to continue to research their passions in life. Studying things is very important to him because his parents were educators and that was really important to him. I have received some really loving, kind, uplifting, and supportive messages from Meshach and his nanny, Margie, or was his nanny at the time, of course, when he was, 6 years old. Some things were personal that pertain only to me. The rest is what I decided to share. And there you have it. Thank you for being here and watching. I wish I could get more information. That's pretty much what I could pretty much squeeze out of them that they're willing to tell me. And yeah, if you want to book a reading with me, my information will be listed in the description below. And thank you for watching.